So lo and behold, I finally saw this movie. But I didn't see it solo, I had my nephew with me. And let's be honest here, despite all the division and hate, there's really only so low they can go with these movies. Okay, I'll stop now. Because these puns are so lowbrow. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm MacDougall, welcome back to my channel, and Solo, a Star Wars story. It's not the movie that we wanted, but it's the movie that we got. That goes without saying, and that having been said, let's review. I'm not going to bother with spoiler warnings here because by the time I upload this video, you'll probably already know all about them. After Rogue One, we heard the talk about all the ideas that Disney had on the table as for future anthology films. And of all the ideas being tossed around, the one that the fans were the most excited about, the one that they were hoping and praying for, was Kenobi. And I agree that would have been awesome, and if done right, yeah, they could have pulled it off. And there's a chance they still could. But as for Solo, this was the idea that the fans were least excited about. And Disney had all sorts of production problems, Lord and Miller got ejected from the project, and their marketing was poor and delayed. And with all that going on, as a fan, I was on the fence about this movie too. But they were able to bring in Ron Howard as director and saved this film. I mean, how can they go wrong with Ron Howard? He has worked with George and Lucasfilm in the past, so it was a good call considering. And Ron happily accepted that mission, and mission accomplished. I mean, Ron Howard and the cast had a huge mess to clean up after Lord and Miller left, and they essentially had to start over. And for better or worse, Ron Howard did get this project back on track, and what they gave us was most likely the better story. So when I say that I like this movie, I'm not saying that it was an epic sci-fi space opera. I'm not saying it because I am a Star Wars fan. I'm saying I like Solo because it actually turned out to be a good story in the universe of Star Wars. This was basically a heist movie, plain and simple. This was the Italian Job meets Star Wars. But more importantly, it is the origin story of Han Solo, how he got his start, and how he grew to become the scoundrel we all know and love. Alden Ehrenreich does surprisingly well as a young Han Solo who is cocky, reckless, impulsive, full of himself, and inexperienced. Always acting the tough guy, the hot shot, talking a big game when really he doesn't have a damn clue. He's looking to escape his miserable life on Corellia with his girlfriend, make a name for himself as the best pilot in the galaxy, and live the life of adventure. Yet 90% of the time, Han is just winging it and getting by on sheer dumb luck. But thanks to a chance encounter, he meets up with a mentor of sorts in Tobias Beckett, played by Harrelson. A thief for hire who indirectly teaches Han the ropes on being an outlaw. The one problem Han has, other than his inability to listen, is that he has a big heart, and he often tries to act the bad guy when he's really not. Now when one heist job fails and Beckett has to come up with another plan to deliver, Han does get to put his skills and wits to good use. And he comes up with a few clever plans of his own that actually work out in the end. He does have his moments. Not many of them, but he does have them. Among the people he encounters along the way is Chewbacca the Wookiee. Early in the movie we see how the two of them meet, and it does play on what is canon, seeing as how Han was an Imperial soldier at the time, and he did free Chewie from being a slave. This movie does have a lot of funny moments that are consistent with Han's character, and one of them is seeing as how he can actually speak Wookiee, and that's how he's able to understand Chewie so well. One of the other characters that Han meets up with is his old flame Qi'ra, played by Emillia Clarke. And like Han, she was once a small-time thief on Corellia, but she rose to the top of the criminal ladder while Han was away. Here she has established herself as one of the top ranks in the criminal syndicate known as Crimson Sun, and has most likely killed a lot of people to get there. In the end, she's something of a turncoat character like Beckett and their employer, Dryden, played by Paul Bentley. And finally, Lando. Another familiar character that Han meets on his little adventure. Donald Glover was perfect as Lando Calrissian. And that's exactly what Lando would be like as a young, hustling, swiddling, charismatic playboy looking to con everyone he comes across for every penny they're worth. That is until he meets up with Han Solo and gets beaten at his own game. Lando gets hired on, or swindled, into Beckett's crew because they need a ship. A fast ship. And there's no ship in the galaxy faster than the Millennium Falcon. And let's talk about the Falcon, shall we? I have to admit that at first, with the promos and the photo leaks as to what the Falcon would look like in this movie, I wasn't big on it. But this was Lando's ship, his version of the Falcon, and the more I saw it, the more it grew on me. I actually like Lando's version of the Falcon, and if I owned a ship like that, yeah, I'd be keeping it neat and tidy too. Now, while we're on the subject of Lando, his droid L3 is no K2SO. Sorry guys, she had some funny moments and you feel for Lando when she dies, but I feel that she was a weak character as far as droids go. But now we know where the Falcon got that peculiar dialect. Solo had moments of Star Wars canon to one extent or another, and plenty of fan service. But the one problem I think the movie had was that they tried cramming too much into one movie. We see in The Empire Strikes Back that Han and Lando are good longtime buddies reminiscing about the old times, which suggests that they had to have had more than one adventure to be such good friends. Yeah, you don't get a bond like that after pulling off one heist job and nearly destroying the guy's ship. Solo had a bit too much going into it, some pacing and editing issues, and rumor has it that this may very well be the first in a Solo trilogy, or they may even go with a Lando story. Either way, they could have stretched things out a bit and saved some of that canon and fan service tidbit stuff for other stories rather than trying to fit them all into one movie. And before I wrap this up, let's talk about the Darth Maul cameo. Yes, Darth Maul is alive. We've seen him in the Clone Wars, Rebels, it is canon, and now it's established here in a live-action film, much like Saw Gerrera was in Rogue One. But why do that? Why go through the trouble of bringing Maul into this, along with Ray Park and Sam Witwer, if not to set up Maul's possible return in future anthology films? Kenobi, perhaps? Or was it just another creative way of connecting all that is canon in the Star Wars universe? Whatever the reason behind it, whatever they're planning, it was cool to see Ray Park back as Maul, and to have Sam Witwer lend his voice, just as they had in the animated shows. As I said before guys, this wasn't a Star Wars epic, but it wasn't a terrible movie either. You've heard it being said that Solo was a fun, safe, average movie, and that's all true. Solo, a Star Wars story, is a fun ride, and I did enjoy it. From the action, the adventure, to the comedy, canon, fan service, the amazing visuals, and otherwise well done story, Solo was indeed a fun movie, and I'll definitely be adding it to my DVD collection for sure. Thus, I'm giving Solo, a Star Wars story, a Titan rating of 7 out of 10. This could very well be a standalone film, or they could follow it up with sequels. But which would you prefer? And what did you guys think of Solo, a Star Wars story? Was it a hit or a miss? Whatever your thoughts, share them in the comment box. I'm Type MacDougall, and thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe, click on that bell, stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you on the next Titan review. Peace.